Hi, my name is Bobby Real. I don't know how many of you know me, but I'm pretty sure all of you do. Today I wanted to come in and talk about making good decisions, especially a lot with driving. With your age group, you're getting ready to start driving. If you're not already, who's already driving? Who has a license? Anybody? I don't know that many. So these are a couple things to think about. This is real deal stuff, happens every day. One thing that I've always thought in my own mind is, in life, it's always to take an extra second to think twice, because you only get to live once. It's like the old saying, you're cutting wood. It's better to measure twice, cut once. Reasons to listen. Teens are killed every day from motor vehicle crashes. According to a poll in 2013, 6 teens were killed every day in the U.S. This means over 2,000 people, or teens, just teens alone, not adults, were killed in the U.S. just in 2013. That means in one day, 6 die every day. And over 243,000 had to be treated just from motor vehicle crashes. That's all teenagers. That's your group. That can happen to anybody. What connects me with this topic is that I've had a lot of young deaths in our little community here. A lot of them were close dear friends, and it was from anywhere from the other person's fault to them making a wrong decision and drinking and driving, or from texting. I've seen it from all sides, and I'm sure you guys have too. Although that they were all tragic and from different factors, one thing is most certain is that they were taken too young, teenagers. You guys still have your whole life ahead of you. So my mission statement really is to persuade you guys to think about, your actions behind the wheel before you make a choice to do something. Take that extra second, think, well, I'm driving down the road and, oh, it's just, 2 seconds I'm going to be off, looking off the road for the radio or something. Think about what's coming ahead. You never know what's going to happen. The drivers. So while you're driving now, what are different choices that you have to make while you're driving now? You ever do you text and drive? Mm-hmm. Don't lie. Mm-hmm. 'Cause I'm guilty. I'm most certainly.
I don't text online when I leave the house. I have text. It's like I can't. I really can't.
That's good. Well, you just go ahead. So I wanted to start off with 2 videos, because the first one that we'll show is a PSA from the UK, and it shows, it's kind of graphic, but it's not real. It's just put on, and I think it's a really good vision inside the car, and you can see what really happens when a crash happens. You can go ahead and play that. Pop it up on full screen. Just there.
Hi, Jane. We make jewels. Fancy you. Cass, it's not even funny now. Just remember.
I know that one was a little bit longer, but I wanted to show the whole thing just because a lot of people don't understand that, you know, when a wreck happens, that you don't just get to walk out every time. You know, you can be trapped. I don't know if everybody knows what the firefighters were using, but those are called jaws of life. They use that to pry open doors, to cut off tops of cars, to get you out. You may not even be able to get out, you know. And I thought seeing that whole video of everything that they have to go through just to get to you will maybe set something off. Escape. This other video, it's a little bit shorter. This is about two friends that were together on a prom night driving, and they ended up wrecking. Oh, I see what's up.
Thanks, Ashley. Prom season is just around the corner. And last summer, two teens from Springfield survived a near-deadly crash after their prom. And while they're still alive, that night has changed their lives forever. 22 News reporter Jacqueline Jing explains.
It was like any other prom night. Smiles, group pictures, dancing, fun. A night Sabbath seniors would never forget. But this crash on Allen Street in Springfield made this night truly unforgettable.
The engine was, lodged on my lap. I couldn't move. I wasn't budging, so I just told them, to go for my end.
Nearly a year later, you can still see where the car crashed, glass pieces of the car scattered on the ground. A grim reminder of the night that still haunts the driver, Casey Calendar.
I was driving, I was responsible, and, I should have took the brunt of everything that happened.
After the accident, both of them were hospitalized. Casey broke his leg in multiple places, but he made it to graduation. Naeem Mahfouz was in a coma for nearly 3 weeks.
I just cried and cried and cried and cried. I barely even slept. I barely slept at all. Just because of the fact that I was, terrified of what I was seeing with both eyes. If there was any way possible that I could have switched me in a position, I would have been in a heartbeat.
This is Naeem now, the former wrestler who received a full-ride scholarship to Fairfield University, now has severe short-term memory loss and suffers from tremors that restrict him to a wheelchair.
Sweetie, just keep good, sweetie.
He says his friends have helped him get through the tough times, especially his best friend Casey.
It is perfect. Casey is such a good friend. He's my boy, cause I'll do anything for him.
He's my brother. Love him to death. Guess every time I look around, I'm grateful. He's still there.
A crash that could have taken both of their lives has now given these two teens a new sense of life. But it is a painful memory that the two of them will always live with.
I can't make him get up and walk again, but the least I can do is help to bring a sense of normalcy back into his life.
That was Jacqueline Jing reporting. You can help Naeem. There's a fundraiser tonight at 6 at the Oak Ridge Golf Club at Beating Hills. If you want to make a donation or find out more information, just go to our website at wwlp.com.
So that video really touched me just because, that really brought their friendship together over a really tragic thing. But that would go to show you, they weren't drinking, maybe there was something else involved, but nothing that they could really tell. They're just driving together. It's hard to tell. They were probably goofing off, not paying attention. It was prom night, a lot of things going on, and they ended up wrecking and almost took his best friend's life. And now he's wheelchair bound for the rest of his life. Imagine trying to deal with that, knowing that that's your fault. Luckily for him, his best friend is still there. He still tries to help him take care of him. So the main problem is, we as humans are making decisions every single day, but we always don't take into consideration all of the possible outcomes, even when they're life-threatening. But it's just that we don't know it. So the main problem with driving is the distractions. Like texting and driving, obviously drinking and driving, which none of you should be doing yet, and driving with friends, like I've said. what are different choices that you guys will just have to make at your age now, every single day? What, you gotta get up for high school, and what am I gonna wear today? You don't really put much thought into that, do you? I mean, cause there's not, you don't think that there's much of a outcome that's really gonna be, other than that's just what you're putting on, you know? Even the smallest things like that, you should just take a little extra time, put a little extra effort into it. Whenever you're dealing with texting and driving, you know that when you look down for a text, even if it's a single word, your eyes are off the road for at least 3 seconds. You know how far you can travel in 3 seconds going 55 mile an hour? Anybody? You can go the length of a football field in 3 seconds. Now imagine if there's a turn coming up and you look down in 3 seconds, you could be over that in the embankment, roll a car, something, you know. Drinking and driving. Why is that bad? I'm sure everybody can figure that out. Because you get intoxicated, you're inebriated. It makes your senses, it brings them down. Your reflexes are really hindered, so like if you're driving sober and there's something in the road, you're most likely going to be able to swerve, get around it, that's fine. Whenever you're drunk, you can't reflect, or
Takes a moment to catch up what's
your
going on.
reflexes, what is it?
Takes a moment to catch up on what's going on.
That's right, exactly. Driving with friends can also be a distraction from talking to them, from them goofing off in the passenger seat, to trying to show you something on the phone, you know. When you're driving, in either one of these situations, you know, think about it. Well, when that text late, I'm pretty sure it can wait, you know, nothing's that important. If it's that important, pull over. Drinking and driving, don't do it. That's just asking for it. And plus, even if you get lucky and you don't wreck, if you get caught by the cops, that's gonna be a pretty healthy fine. And driving with friends, just make sure you're responsible. Every kid does it, especially when you get your license. I know I was. You know, you're excited to go out on your own for the first time, be able to drive with your buddies or your girlfriends, go out to town, just be responsible. This other video, last one, it's real short, shows you teens your age, well, a little bit older, whenever they take their eyes off the road for just a couple seconds, whether it's putting on lipstick or texting or messing with the radio, it shows you how fast it can happen. So he's looking down right there for just about 2 seconds and off the road. See the car on the shoulder? Here's what I was talking about with the turn. Here this girl. She's not even looking up. So, does that bring up, does that make you realize how fast that can happen? That one girl, she didn't look up for 7 seconds. It's a wonder that none of those were worse than what they were just run off the road, and luckily those were not fatal. Maybe switch it. Yeah, good. Reasons to make smarter decisions behind the wheel. Other than these three, what do you guys think? What I got is making roads safer, less chance for accident, or less chances for death and even injury. What do you guys think? Okay. This makes roads safer for everybody, not just yourself. It's not only yourself that you can hurt, and also when you're driving on the other side, you have to be alert and watch for the other people. Because trust me, I ride motorcycle. I've almost been hit numerous times, and I've only had my license for like a year and a half. I'm telling you, I probably had 10 close calls to head-on collisions. Now, whether or not they were texting, which I know a few of them that were, as I was right beside them, and they would come over in my lane, almost run me over, and I'm sitting there watching them text, and they don't have a clue. And my bike is loud, and they still don't even know. This right here is something that I wanted to read to you guys. This happened in Ripley, West Virginia. It's not real descriptive. This is all I could find, but it is relevant. It was in September 4th, 2013. On a Tuesday night, a wreck happened along Route 56 near Green Hills Country Club, where driver 47-year-old Brian Hunt of Sandyville lost control of his truck. It went off the road and slammed into a tree. Trooper said John Little, 59, of Dandyville, died at the scene at 10:30 p.m. or of the 10:30 p.m. crash. The second passenger, 54-year-old Wanda Simmons of Leroy, died at a Charleston Area Medical Center Wednesday morning. The troopers are continuing their investigation and said criminal charges may be filed. Now, I know you guys are probably like, well, what's this have to do with anything? This very wreck right here, I came up on. I was the first one at it. I was even surprised that I even found an excerpt from it, since it was so long ago. And I want to talk about that because this is something that really touches me. And it's kind of hard, I ain't gonna lie. But I was in Ravenswood one night, if you all know where that's at. It's just not very far from here in West Virginia. And me and my uncle was actually going to go get beer. And we were going to go out and on an ATV ride and go do all that. Well, on our way to town to get beer, we ended up coming around a corner just before the country club and seeing a car that was stopped in the middle of the road. Well, we figured somebody just did deer. Well, once we got closer, there was a car down over the hill and 2 people standing on top of the road. So I stopped and asked if everything was okay, of course, like a good citizen. And they didn't know. That was the people from the car up top. So they hadn't even gone down and checked on these people. Well, I pulled over. When I got out, I could hear somebody yelling, help. Not necessarily yelling, more like whispering because they couldn't yell. So I jumped down over the hill. When I get down here, this truck is pinned up against this tree. Didn't know how bad it was, so I finally got down to the truck and I got to the rear of it and I yelled. And this guy, it sounded like whispering in my ear, says, help me. And I turn around with a flashlight and this guy is hanging out the window, pinned between this truck and this tree, still alive, bleeding profusely. Wanted me to lift this truck off of him. Another one, the woman, Wanda, she was in between that guy and then still the truck with the cab rolled around her face from where it hit the tree. And she wasn't even conscious. The driver, he was just knocked out laying on top of both of them. They later found out that it was due to drunk driving. They all smelled terrible of alcohol. But what I'm getting at is that as I was sitting there talking to this guy waiting on the ambulance to get there, he ended up dying on me, by myself, dying, as he was talking to me. And once I found out, which I already knew that it was, like I said, the drunk driving, is because there was beer cans all over the floorboard, all in the back, and it smelled like it. But for me to see, this guy that was fine and talking to me just died minutes before any of us could get there, and you cannot do anything, is mind blowing. I'm not kidding. That's one thing that I always had a problem with, is you guys don't realize how bad it can be or how bad it is whenever something like that happens, because you guys don't see it. You hear it all the time. I was the same way. Oh yeah, I know. No, until you see it, you don't understand. I'm telling you, that was a life changer for me.
My Uncle Danny crashed on a motorcycle right by his driveway.
Oh yeah, did he die?
No,
No, that's
it's
good.
like his third wreck.
Third. I had a very good track record. Luckily, I haven't yet. You can change it. So the solution, you just think twice about what you're doing. Think twice before you pick up the phone and text. Think twice before you go out and drink. Think twice when you got friends in there. Because remember, especially when you have friends, you got more than just your own life. It ain't like you're just hurting yourself, you're hurting somebody else. So a couple smart decisions to make, like I said, with texting: put it down, turn it off, keep it out of reach, pull over if you have to. If you're waiting on an important text or it's something you have to do, pull over. It's not that hard. Drinking, everybody does it. Don't say you don't. Well, you guys probably don't yet, but you will. Whenever it gets to that point, call a friend or a family member. Regardless if you're too young and you're like, oh man, my parents are gonna be mad at me, and I don't want to get caught. It doesn't matter. I would rather get caught drinking and get in trouble and be okay than for them to catch you whenever you're in a casket. It's not worth getting hurt over it. Arrange a designated driver, or just don't drive. Stay. Do something. With friends, drive like normal. Don't show off like I did. And don't have them in the car if they're a distraction. If they distract you, you don't drive with them, because that's not only putting their life in danger, that's putting your life in danger. As a passenger, it's just as important. Don't ride with someone that has been drinking. It's just pretty much the opposite of the spectrum. If a driver gets a text, reply for them. If they don't want to see it, then encourage them not to, because I wouldn't ride with them, especially after seeing those videos. Also, don't become a distraction to a driver. I know that can be hard if you want, you got something cool on your phone you want to show them. That's just like texting. You're taking their eyes off the road and making a higher chance of a wreck. So in conclusion, like I said again, make smart decisions. Don't text and drive. Don't drink and drive. Drive safely with friends. Don't drink safely. I don't know why that's like that. Just remember, the problem with driving is the distractions. Remember to think twice of the possible outcomes and take charge to put down the phone, to get a designated driver and drive responsible. And the main thing is to think twice and live once. Thank you guys. You go ahead.